Welcome back to Scope, where we'll be sparking your interest in the science of fire. When fire gets out of control, things can get scary. That's why scientists like to study fire in a controlled environment, like a lab. So let's head on to the fire lab and see how they do it.
Fire is extremely powerful, but it can also be extremely dangerous, which is why we need to understand exactly how it behaves. But we cannot just go around setting fire to things in everyday life. Hi, I'm Christian. I'm going to show you some hot technology that allows us to study fire. And not just here on Earth, but also way up in space. To study fire, you need a specially built fire lab just like this one. Here we can test every kind of fire, from the very small to the very large. Let's start small. Our flashover box allows us to study fire behavior in contained spaces, such as those that may occur in a house fire. Fire in contained spaces starts with ignition. For example, a piece of wooden furniture will release smoke which will eventually spread and accumulate across the ceiling. Heat from the smoke layer will then radiate into other pieces of furniture. This will result in those furnitures eventually igniting, and this is called flashover. And when it comes to house fires, it's very important to understand how things are going to behave, from plastic to timber to fabric, and that's why we use the cone calorimeter. Using this machine, we study how easily things ignite and how quickly flame spreads across them. Manufacturers, for example, can use this information to change the construction of different materials to make them safer, such as firefighters' equipment.
And firefighters can face some very dangerous challenges. Hi, I'm Angus, and I'm going to show you what can happen in a bushfire.
One of the biggest hazards in bushfires is when a fire tornado forms. To study how a fire tornado will behave, we can replicate it in the lab. A fire tornado is made of a core, the part that's actually on fire, and a rotating pocket of air. A fire tornado can get very hot, a terrifying vortex of flame that is best avoided.
But even in space, we can't avoid fires, and they're extremely dangerous on spacecraft. So we've been helping NASA study how fires behave in microgravity.
Most controlled fire experiments in space have been limited to small sizes. The spacecraft fire experiment, also known as SAPHIR, intentionally lit a large fire inside an empty resupply vehicle after it had left the International Space Station, but before it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. Instruments measured flame growth, oxygen use, and more, improving our understanding of fire and microgravity.
Ultimately, there's no safe way to play with fire.
But in the fire lab, we can at least be safe while studying how it behaves.